What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PixelPlay Sidequests, your bonus content here on YouTube. My name is Adam, aka CS Radical, joined as always, Jin and Chris, aka Chris. You know, the other way around. I'm just gonna keep. I'm gonna keep just completely doing it at random, just to see the look on his face because he has no idea where I'm going with it.
Never
But
know.
we are back for another set of remakes. As you can see from the title of this video, we are doing GameCube. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the hardest one. And you think, well, yeah, but Adam, there's really good games on the GameCube or the Dreamcast. I know. But here's the thing that you got to remember. We're now in an era where a lot of games were on the Dreamcast that were also on everything else. So like,
Yes, this is where it gets difficult.
it's not as easy. And here's the thing too. Well, you're also like, yeah, but clearly there must have been a bunch of games you played on Dreamcast that were, memorable to you. You'd think that, but I never owned the console.
I did.
It's easier to
But
come up with
way
Xbox
after.
games or PS2 games because you had them. I didn't have a Dreamcast, so
Yeah, I'm going based on the limited games I had. I did pick one up. It was already a discontinued console. It was like $45 at EB Games / GameStop here in Canada. So I was like, $45, I'll buy a console for that. And yeah, I played some games. I'm passionate
imagine
about
a
a
console
couple.
being that cheap. What days
Yeah.
we used to live in. That's not well. I guess it's not foreshadowing because this technically comes out, after the main show. But we're probably at some point in the main show going to talk about the price hikes for consoles. Now, who knows? This might not actually be true when we never talk about it on the main show. But hey, that's what happens when you record one before the other. But yeah, the Dreamcast is just one of those that kind of slipped me by. I mean, I did play like certain games for it. Either at a friend's or. I know sometimes like you go to like the mall or whatever and there'd be the little booth thing where you could try out games with the console, but like I don't think I ever played a Dreamcast for more than like an hour in a sitting. So a lot of my list,
Yeah.
you might be different than me, Chris, but a lot of my list is going to be I want to try these games, so please remake them kind of deals. And usually I have like one of those most consoles. This time around, I think it might be all of them.
Yeah. Oh God, Dreamcast, I miss you actually.
It's
Sega.
it's crazy. I mean, obviously we went through the numbers of how the Saturn actually did better sales wise
Yeah.
in the end. So it's like the Dreamcast is just one of those things that like people remember fondly, but also people have kind of forgotten existed.
Yeah, they forgot to buy it, and that's why they went under. Or they waited until it was way too late, like myself.
Well, I mean, not everybody can want to play Phantasy Star Online, so. Well, I'll let you kick off this one. So, what's the first thing you got for us?
All right, well, I'm going to start with the most important one to me, and one that I actually adore, I love, and it did get ported to other things, and I guess technically it's been like, no, I don't even think it's been remastered. I think it's just been ported, but Sonic Adventure, just the first one. Sonic Adventure 2 is fun. I know a lot of people love that game. It's the introduction to Shadow and all that kind of stuff. I actually preferred Sonic Adventure 1. I don't know why. It just felt more Sonic-y or like old school Sonic versus new school Sonic kind of idea. The thing is with it though, it can be rough. It is a great game. I love it. But some of the animations, obviously, and some of the mechanics and stuff, like it was the first like big true 3D Sonic game. It was like their Mario 64, basically. They did great, in my opinion. I loved it. I still remember playing this for the first time in a Blockbuster where they had a Sega Dreamcast set up. And I think it was even before it technically came out, the system. And you could just kind of try it. But it was fantastic. I loved it. But yeah, I have this on PC on Steam and stuff, and I've replayed it. I remember on my PS3 back when it was also re-released there. And there's just certain things that are like a little bit rough because of the times. If they were to remake this and just use maybe, well, not fully like Sonic Generations, because that's a little bit more of like an on rails kind of version of Sonic, but if they kind of just took that technology and built the Sonic Adventure 1 game again using that more modern technology, obviously, Sonic Generation stuff like that is known for actually being very tight. It's actually really good fluid 3D gameplay and stuff. So who knows, maybe they could actually take this really good game, in my opinion, but like actually make it good in everybody's opinion, where it's like, oh, it's not as janky and it's not as like I pressed this button to do this and completely went and kind of did something else just because, it's a game from like 1999 or whatever it is. But yeah, Sonic Adventure. I'm a huge Sonic fan, as everybody can tell. Obviously, we've got the little shrine behind me.
We've never discussed Sonic at any point on the show because of you.
Yeah, never. But yeah, Sonic Adventure, I would love a remake. I'm sure they'd I think it'd be cool if they mixed it with Sonic Adventure 2. But again, to be completely honest, Sonic Adventure 1 was the one I loved. I still think of, listen to the music actually sometimes and stuff like that. I just really loved it. So I hope that they would bring that back.
So I don't have an obvious one to start with. The number one choice that I came from my research. When I was looking at a bunch of stuff, because again, I have a couple of games that I've wanted to try, or a couple of games that I remember fondly. The big one, I mean, we'll give shoutouts, is Crazy Taxi, but that's getting something apparently already, according to Sega, so we don't have to really think that hard about it.
Yep.
So I was trying to find like some either weird just ideas that I hadn't come across before, or like obviously I went down the JRPG route to see if I could find anything interesting. And I came across something that didn't get reviewed very well, but conceptually I looked at what this game is and went, that seems like an amazing idea, and I'd love to see an indie company try that. And the game is called, I'm just pulling my list back up here, it's called Industrial Spy Operation Espionage. And what I can only, from the little bit of research that I did on this, what I can only describe this game as is kind of like a mission game where you have you have a couple of agents and you try to set them up on a mission to make sure that they do all the roles correctly, and you kind of like guide them through it, almost kind of the way that what I saw one article talk about that's kind of similar to what Five Nights at Freddy's would do, in that you kind of like help them as they go, and it almost plays out kind of like a movie in a way that as you kind of go with it, it ends up doing the mission as you do, which means if you fuck up, they go down. They get caught or they die or whatever else. And I looked at that and went, okay, so apparently the execution on this actual game wasn't great. It didn't review all that well. But I looked at this and went, I would play the fuck out of an idea like this. Of just a game where it's like, okay, because obviously you have your hitmans and stuff where you are the agent, but what about a game where you're like, oh my god, the Otacon, right?
Yeah, you're the guy in the chair.
Like, you're the person actually, like, giving them all the information. Now, there's a game that I wanted to play with you at one point, Chris, that was called Operation Tango on PS4 that we never got around to. That's kind of like that, where one person's the agent, one person's the, the information relayer. But, like, this one is specifically just in that role. And I saw, like, bits and pieces of this game and kind of read a little bit about it and went, holy shit, that's a really cool idea. Obviously, like, I don't even know what company made this. They're probably long gone at this point. But like, I'd love an idea like this to just kind of take a crack at it and do something interesting with it, because, Five Nights at Freddy's is very specific in what it does, and I want something that doesn't scare the shit out of me. I like the concept. I don't need nightmares. My brain is good enough on its own. I don't need help. That's just one of my travels that I just kind of came across and went, huh, that's a really cool idea. I want to see somebody do that.
Yeah, I have never heard of this before, ever. And it's an interesting concept. Like, this is something I agree that it does look like it doesn't play out exactly as you hope. It looks very rough around the edges. Yeah, but the concept itself, like if they were to make a modern version of this might be our best candidate for needing an actual remake, to be honest, because it looks like it still needs time in the oven. And if they do a remake, they would actually get a chance to do that with, obviously, the more modern graphics, the more modern everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm very interested to give that a try.
I love that we've done these videos, because it's really kind of brought my attention to some stuff that I'm like, holy shit, I've never seen this before. That looks so interesting. Whether it's good or bad, even. My
Steam Deck has received many retro games that I have added to it due to this series that we are running. I cannot lie to you.
Well, it's not like your backlog needs any more help, right? But what's a couple more?
Just a couple more. Just a couple hundred. All right. Well, I guess I'll go with my next one. And this is one that I am ashamed to say that I've never played. I do actually have it on my Steam Deck. And technically, this was like a multi-console release eventually. But I think this
I
is one
might
of those
know where you're
cases.
going. Is it a JRPG?
Yes, it is.
Is it Skies of
Yes,
Arcadia?
it is Skies of
Yeah.
Arcadia. Yes, it is.
That's
I
on
think
my
it's a
list
case
too.
of, yeah, I think it was a case where the Dreamcast kind of failed and developers were like, okay, we should port our game somewhere else because, sales on this console are now dead. So Skies of Arcadia, perfect example of that. And it did come out on GameCube, which is the version that I have on my Steam Deck, actually. I played a little bit of it. I'm talking maybe the first 20 minutes. It seems exactly like the kind of game I would love. It seems like a fantastic JRPG. And it just sadly is one I never played because I owned a Dreamcast, but I got it a lot later than, when it released. I got it after, like I said, for like $45. And I bought a bunch of games that were also just kind of there available at EB Games / GameStop, but they were all used ones. This wasn't one that was obviously there. Never had a chance to grab it, even though I was desperate at the time for JRPGs, always. And I owned a GameCube, but again, I bought it used. And I got a couple games for it, but it was mostly like F-Zero, Smash Brothers, and Wind Waker. Like it was very specific, being like, here are those Nintendo games. I never played Tales of Symphonia on GameCube, which I would have wanted to. I never played this. And this has never been re-released. If it had, I definitely would have picked this up because Tales of Symphonia, for example, I grabbed on PC the minute that it actually was released. I'm a huge Tales guy later in life and, was able to come back to it. But this series just kind of got abandoned. Like they had this game. It's loved by JRPG fans for sure. But yeah, there's I don't think there's any sequels. I'm sure if there is, it's probably more of like a mobile port or something that unfortunately feels like the type of thing that would happen. But yeah, I would love a remake of this. I would love them to go back to it, clean it up, not just a remaster, like, really work through some of the kinks, really give it like some modern, still keep it turn-based and all that kind of stuff. But like really bring it kind of up to a little bit of a modern UI and a modern take on it and everything like that. Keep the story the same, but and keep it turn based. But yeah, just bring this series back. And I think a remake would be a perfect way to do that because if they made a sequel, I really don't know how well it would do because while there's people like me and you, of course, that know of this game, maybe even played it back in the day, we're probably not like it's not something that it's been what like 26 years or something since this game was on Dreamcast, 25 years. It's going to be a long time, so if there's a sequel, the hype may be not enough, right?
Yeah,
It may be where
2000
people are
on
like,
Dreamcast, 2002 on GameCube. So yeah, we're
yeah,
talking 25 years essentially.
yeah, for when it released. So a lot of people are going to be like, what is that? Right? It's not like the series is already out there.
Most people
So
have
if you
probably
call
the
it,
last time they knew about it is when they saw Vice as a character in the Sonic racing games.
yes, yes. I mean, that's how I learned about a lot of Sega games. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, like this is just a series that deserves some love. And it's not like Sega's got some other JRPGs where it's like, oh, we don't have time. We mentioned kind of like Shining Force and stuff like that, other RPG style games that they've got, and this is one of them. Like, bring it back. Give us what we need. Give us a JRPG with that old school, colorful flair, right? Like instead of it being just the more dreary type of JRPGs that we see today. Give us that
It's
old school,
it's funny because originally I thought there was a remake being done for it, and as it turns out, oh, Chris, did you just freeze on me there? Oh no, we're back. Okay, good.
Wait.
Everything's fine. The YouTube video can continue. I don't have to edit anything. Cool. I was gonna say, I thought at one point that there was a remake for it, and then I realized that I was mixing up. We did a video on this like way back. I think this might have been when we were doing Cartridge and Quarters before.
Oh
When
yeah.
there was the story about the Wild Arms and Shadow Hearts remakes coming out,
Yes.
which was
yes.
Arm Fantasia and Penny Blood, which by the way I recently checked while you were talking there. They're both dead, which is great to all the people who kickstarted for $2.5 million.
Oh, what the hell?
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
that's
is
another reason why I don't kickstart anything because I don't trust shit.
Yeah. Oh,
But like
that sucks.
it's just Man, like a lot. We're the JRPG guys, right? Like we've made no bones about it. Obviously, the true king isn't with us right now, but it sucks because so many of these games, like we keep talking about Breath of Fire, for example, like so many of these are just lost, and we'll never see them come back. Like even the idea that Phantasy Star is still alive in its online state, but like we don't play it. Like I don't give a shit about what PSO2 is doing. I want a first-person Phantasy Star. And it continues on with all of these games that I missed because I either didn't own the console or it was too late for me to get into them. Obviously, like, I only got into one Wild Arms game, and that was the last one that came out. That was 5. So I was way behind in that. Shadow Hearts, I luckily stumbled upon, and I own at least 2 of them. I should have kept the first one, but I'm an idiot and was still selling games back then. And now that game alone, I think, costs like $180. So no, thank you. But a lot of these, like Skies of Arcadia is another big one where it's just, I need these to come back. And even, I don't even care if it's like, obviously we want them remade because that's the point of this video, but like even in the state of just fresh, like 4K upscale it from like with an emulator and just throw a port on. I don't care. I just want to be able to play it and not feel like I'm playing a 25-year-old game because I know some people can do it. And depending on the console, I can still play old games. Like I can play Super Nintendo games pretty easily. But like, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to play Skies of Arcadia, the Dreamcast version, because I don't want to deal with loading times. I don't want to deal with crappy textures. I don't want to deal with that shit. So, like, at the very least, if there was a upscale 60 frame per second version of it, I don't even care if they've done any quality of life changes. I don't even care if they've touched that. I just want to try some of these things and see what they were. And I don't really feel like doing that when I know the quality already from the start is extremely archaic.
Yes. It's Arcadian. In the skies. All
right, so anyway, Power Stone. That's the immediate one that, I've heard so many good things about. It would have been my number 1 pick had it not been for me coming across that last game. Power Stone is a game that anybody that I know that has played it has told me, dude, that is like the best Dreamcast game, and anybody who thinks otherwise never played it. Like, that's the only explanation. If you play Power Stone, you knew it was the best one.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where, like, even looking at the footage now, I'm like, that still looks fun today. Like, you just put a fresh coat of paint on that and just make it run it, like, pretty flawlessly at 60 frames. This seems like a badass time.
Yeah.
Like, this seems like the kind of shit that, like, we would have a blast, like, playing each other on.
Yeah. I never got to play these back in the day, but I've seen a lot of it, and it looks fun as shit. Like, it looks just like fun nonsense that, well, not nonsense, but like
this is
very
the game that I look at and go, I don't even care what the sales might have been like before. Like, let's see, who would have been the ones that made this game? Capcom.
It's Capcom?
Are you telling me that at no point you've looked at this game again and gone, you know what, we could make this on the cheap and I'm sure this could do well?
Yeah. I mean, Capcom is the one that's also holding back Breath of Fire, so
yeah,
there's
but
that.
Capcom hasn't really cared about JRPGs in forever, whereas like Capcom's a fighting game company too, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's true. This
is kind of in their wheelhouse.
Yeah. What the heck? I'm just mesmerized by this video that's on the screen. Like
I'm looking at this
seems
going,
like
this could still pass for an indie game today.
As like an homage. 100%. Yeah. Like, holy crap, I want to play this. It actually looks like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Skullhaven. Yeah, what the hell? I want to play this. I want this. This might be something I add. I'm not going to lie to my Steam Deck.
Yeah,
I need this.
And there's 2 of them too. So like even if they just remastered 1 and 2, I don't care. But like I look at this and be like, dude, I'd love to see a Power Stone new game out, and it's like $40, and it's just, dude, because this is esports potential too.
Oh yeah.
This is like even watching this right now, this looks like fun to watch. Imagining people that are actually good at the game playing it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. This is like a Smash Brothers tournament or something that I'm watching. Like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would play the crap out of this. I didn't actually know what this series was. I saw... Oh, no. I did see... Sorry. No. I have seen it. I have seen it run on, like, Twitch, and I think I actually had a friend who had it.
Yeah, I've been aware of it the longest time due to Total Biscuit. May he rest in peace. That Fucking glorious
Totally
bastard.
Biscuit. That actually
But yeah,
might be where I had seen
he
it too.
sold the shit out of that for me, and of course, when I went to go look for it, I'm like, oh, it's really old. All right, well, great. Maybe they'll make it
Yeah.
someday, and here we are all these years later, and it still hasn't. But hey,
Gosh, I do need
we
to go
get
back.
so many hundreds at most of views. Maybe somebody from Capcom will watch this.
Oh, Capcom's our number one fan for sure. That's why after we had our episode about PS1 titles coming back, Breath of Fire 4 was added to GOG on PC
They
right
listened.
after. Now, did they do anything to it? No, it's the original 2000 PC
Hey,
release.
sometimes you just got to dip your toe in the water. That's start. That's more
I
than
did
we've
buy
had
it.
in about 20 years.
I did buy it out of desperation. It's like $10, but still, I jumped on that.
Because like, what's
I was like,
what's
I need
the
it.
last Breath of Fire game that ever came out? Was it Dragon Quarter, which is that really bad PS2 one?
There might be a mobile game. I feel like.
Okay, counting real games only.
Yeah, then it's the PS2 one. I never played the PS2 one. I could just tell.
Let's see. Apparently, oh no, is this the mobile one? Well, apparently it was released on PC, but I guess because it's that in Android, it was probably meant designed as a mobile game. But apparently there was one.
Yeah.
I don't believe them, but there was one. But only in Japan because they hate us.
Why? God,
Well,
it was such a
speaking
good
of
series.
people who hate us, what else have you got that's never going to get remade, but we have to bitch about anyway?
So before I go to my next game, because I actually have the other two, I have two games listed just in case you took one. But the thing I actually would want more than one of the games is an accessory. And I'm going to go with that. I'm actually going to take my moment here to talk about the virtual memory unit, the VMU, which was just the memory card in the Dreamcast. Because I don't know if you remember, but the memory card itself had a screen. And then when you were done playing a game, you could take the memory card with you.
Thing.
And it had like one of those Tiger handheld kind of screens and stuff.
Because wasn't it like related to like the Chow Garden with Sonic Adventure as well?
Yeah, so any game could use it, obviously. Like it was something that when you basically had your save data on there, they could obviously put a very minor like little game on there as well. Sonic Adventure, I think it was Sonic Adventure 1, was the Chow Garden. And you actually took your Chow like it was a Tamagotchi kind of thing to kind of continue raising it even when you weren't playing Sonic Adventure. And I remember thinking how fucking cool that was back in the day. Because it was like a way of, you know, you've got your gaming system at home, but you actually got to take a small part of it with you afterwards. And I remember Final Fantasy VIII ended up doing something. I think it was Final Fantasy VIII, maybe it was 9, but there was one of them where you could get this item, this accessory where you could like raise a chocobo outside of the game. And I'm pretty sure they came out with that idea because of the Dreamcast. I imagine that it had to do with that because it would like the PS1 obviously did not have this technology themselves. But yeah, it was so cool. And the fact that like any game really that you're playing, like Skies of Arcadia, you could take it with you maybe, and like you could see your stats of your characters or something like that. Like you could kind of check. Maybe you could get them to like set to battle, and like while you had it in your pocket, you know, it would keep battling and you'd earn XP or something like that. Like there's so many different ways you could have possibly used this. And I think like obviously with PC gaming and stuff, you could still do it. I don't know how popular it would be, like putting in the USB port and stuff. But imagine with controllers, like consoles and stuff. Excuse me. You take like the Nintendo Switch, which loves fucking weird ass accessories. And the PlayStation and Xbox could obviously do something along these lines too, but something you plug directly into your controller and it keeps maybe your save file or it just keeps data from that game specific to, again, like you're raising a chocobo, you're getting XP, you're doing whatever. I just thought it was such a cool idea. And I think probably Nintendo would be the best one to have that now, but I think that would be something really fucking cool. You could be playing Pokemon and one of your Pokemon would be on your memory card thing. You could take it with you and it would like, you know, you'd have your Pikachu in your pocket. You could do something with it. Maybe again, have it do battles, or if you walk past somebody that has the same kind of accessory, maybe they do battle together. Like, I don't know, there's so many different little things that you could kind of do with this. And I just thought it was a really cool way of turning the memory card into something exciting, because memory cards, were just something that cost money, and it was annoying that you had to save your game externally and have, like me, multiple fucking cards. Like on my PS1, I think I had 4 memory cards by the end. This was just a cool way to
obviously
like
with like companion apps that we have now, there are some games that try to take advantage of at least mobile devices to kind of like carry it on with it. But I mean,
yes.
like, I think a lot of games, like, and I know the reason that they don't do it is because that means now they have an app they have to take care of as well, which is extra work, and that's more people they got to hire. Lord knows companies don't like giving people jobs these days.
True.
It's also the idea, too, that I think people have kind of, well, depending on which audience you're after, mobile just kind of immediately turns them off. So a lot of the time, people have just kind of gone like, okay, you know, like companion apps of being things that like Destiny would do it if you just want an easier way to move all your equipment around between characters. MLB has that for, you know, if you want to take things on the go and be able to mess around with the marketplace and stuff like that. But like, for the most part, unless they're like making like a side game that goes along with it, it's just one of those things that I think a company would just take one look at and be like, that is just way too much work for not the reward that we would get out of it. Why do a game with a mobile companion app? We could just make a shitty gotcha game and we get even more money out of these suckers.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, I think that's why like having a separate device that has just this one function for the most part, especially like again, I hate to go with just Nintendo here, but Nintendo seems like the most obvious one that could actually use this because they have like the amiibo characters and all that kind of shit, right?
Not to mention like their console's kind of portable to begin with, so it wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch for them to go for it.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, probably most. I mean, not most. I don't want to say most because I don't know the actual stats, but what's very common on Nintendo? Kids. Like my niece, my nephew, they both love playing Switch. They do not touch other consoles and stuff like that. Like they're just young and they don't really care or know. They don't have, I mean, kids for the most part don't have phones and mobile devices and know how to download apps and sign up and do all that kind of stuff, right? Like most parents don't even want their kids probably having a phone if they're that young. So it would kind of make sense where it's like, well, here's their Switch, which parents are always comfortable with. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Nintendo, it's Mario. Everybody loves that. And Pokemon. But here's this little device where the kid can now leave their Switch at home. And while they're in the car and they're going with you to the mall or whatever, they're bringing this little accessory that has their Pikachu or their Squirtle or whatever Pokemon they may have in it. Or maybe Mario's just in it. Maybe a Legend of Zelda character who's earning items or something. Or as you carry Link with him, he heals. I don't know. There's so many different things you could choose to do with it. But I think that parents would appreciate, you know, this stupid little accessory that's not mandatory, but it beats, you know, having an app on a phone or something where you're handing that to a kid or an iPad or whatever. It's just this little Tamagotchi looking kind of thing. And, you know, it keeps kids entertained and it's easy because it only does the one thing. So parents don't have to think too hard to understand it. It's a very easy, safe, simple kind of accessory. So I don't know. I just loved the VMU, even though I got my Dreamcast when I was like 20. Maybe, yeah, I was about 20. And I carried around the Chow thing for a bit. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to raise a Chow while I'm out and about doing, you know, 20-year-old stuff. Like I remember having the damn thing in my pocket at a bar. It was funny to me, but I was the only one that knew it was there. And then, yeah, the next time I played Sonic Adventure, I put the memory card back in and lo and behold, there you go. Plus the screen actually showed in the controller too. So while it was plugged in and you were playing the game, certain details would show there, which was also kind of cool, having a small screen on a controller, right? So yeah, I love that. And instead of mentioning another game, that's what I would say I would love to be brought back.
Cool. Initially, you know, again, like Jet Grind Radio came to mind, but then I'm like, okay, well, they're probably redoing that. Not to mention Bomb Rush Cyberpunk already exists. So there is also sort of a successor to it. So I'm going to go with another one that I completely found out of randomness looking around. And of course, couldn't avoid JRPGs forever. So I did find one that I'd never heard of before, and it looks kind of interesting because it blends kind of apparently gameplay with turn-based and RTS elements. But it's a game called Time Stalkers. And it has very much like very much like a sort of like the text reminds me of Dark Cloud, like to a T. Like that just font 100%. Seems like Dark Cloud font right there. But kind of just, you know, I don't even know if I can say anything special about it. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. Finding Dreamcast games for me this time, like apart from me going like NFL 2K1, like what else? Like I had Ready to Rumble boxing. Like I was running out real quick. I'm like, okay. Because, like, I'm not going to lie, I knew you were going to take Sonic Adventure, and I don't have nearly as fond memories of that game in comparison. So, like, most of the major stuff, I'm like, nah. So I was trying to find some weird ones, and this is one that I just kind of looked at and be like, okay, I like the vibe of the art style. I like the concept. Again, it's turn-based JRPG. You're going to get my attention anywhere with that. I have to point out one funny thing that I found with it. So it's called Time Stalkers in North America. Do you want to know what they named it in Japanese?
I would love to know.
It's called Climax Landers. Now, there's probably a reason for it. The developer is Climax Entertainment. But still,
okay.
Climax Landers, there's some innuendo you could use with that.
There's a lot of innuendo
just
you could use.
Just a little. Or, you know, if it's 18 plus, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be laughing about this like 3 hours from now, just randomly. I'm just gonna start laughing.
I'm just gonna be sitting on the couch and be like, Climax Landers.
What a name. Holy crap.
Japan, man.
I mean, this game.
Look, there's a lot of things they're not great at, but if there's anything they're good at, it is fucking naming shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. This does look actually pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does give that sweet, like, tactics RPG kind of feels. You know what I mean? Well, not tactics, because you're not like staying moved. Like, you can more than just attack the space next to you, but still.
Because, again, I didn't look that deep into it. When it mentioned that there was RTS elements, I wonder if it could just be something else outside of combat.
Yeah, true.
So it could have its own other system beside that. But either way, I was really reaching. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this, I'm like, okay, turn-based JRPG that doesn't look like absolute ass. Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, it does look like something I'd like to try.
And I would like to play this too. Like a lot of times, like, obviously we're gonna eventually get to consoles again where it's gonna be like we don't have room for anything that I want to try. But there's, especially with older consoles, like, it's so easy to come across something and be like, I've never seen you before. I want to play you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this definitely fits in that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Dreamcast. So now we can go back to forgetting it. Cool. Until Sega suddenly turns around and be like, we're back in the console game now, and be like, why?
The Dreamcast 2.
We'll be very confused. Although Chris will buy it, so at least they got one guaranteed sell.
I mean, if there's like a Sonic game on it, which there would be, then I have to. Right?
That would be the funny part. Sega releases their first console in forever. Sonic doesn't launch on it. That would be the most Sega thing to do.
Yeah. The only way it would work is if they made Sonic exclusive on it. They'd have to. Because if Sonic's still multi-platform, no one's giving up their PS5 or Xbox or PC or whatever to get and play the Dreamcast too.
There's a market. I mean, obviously, like, I'm pretty sure. Look, I said at the beginning of the show, we might not talk about it for all I know, but, like, I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about the price hikes. There's a world out there where somebody just decides to make a really cheap console that's just kind of meant to be like casual gaming, and it's like $300 Canadian, and just they put a Sonic game on there because, well, 2D Sonic games aren't that hard to make.
Yeah.
And it's just like they just become like the indie console, which is what the Ouya was supposed to be.
Oh, the Ouya. I was so into that. I was going to buy one. I never did, but I was so into it.
I mean, if the Sega Ouya existed, you buy it.
Yeah, I would have bought it.
Yeah, you would have bought it.
I would have bought that. I would have bought
that. So who knows? Sega, I mean, we have Capcom watching this, of course, because we're going to see a Power Stone game, next year. But, I mean, Sega's clearly watching this, right? Like, they have to be. I mean, the amount of Sonic merch you've bought guarantees that they have to watch our podcast. That's just legal.
Look, Sega.
Right?
Look at this shit. Look at it.
So there you go. We got a Power Stone game coming out. We got a $300 Sega console coming out soon. So, you're welcome, guys.
We did it.
Great job, you and me. Pat ourselves on the back for that. But anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of the Sidequest. Thank you so much for checking us out. As always, you know the drill. Like and subscribe. You got the link tree there at the bottom of the screen. Link to the Discord. Link to the other things that we never touch anymore. But that is going to do it, guys. Obviously, main episodes go up on Wednesday. We see you here every Friday for the Sidequest. So take care wherever you may be. Bye-bye for now.